Hello, I'm Dick.
And I'm Eric, and we're the Annuity guys.
Well, Eric, when we start talking about people who shouldn't buy annuities, and
Those people exist?
well, and you
No.
know
Yes,
that is
of
one
course
of
they
the
do.
first things that we do when somebody calls in, and we start talking about, does an annuity even make sense?
Right. There's definitely a class of people that don't need annuities. And we've kind of put together some profiles to help kind of people identify, are you one of those people that really doesn't even need to pick up the phone or fill out a form?
Exactly, and so when we start looking at these, just some very basic things that, to us, it's something that's kind of counterintuitive, I guess I would say, because we deal with it every day. But a lot of folks, that are learning about annuities, they have some of these issues where they really shouldn't even be considering an annuity. So why waste their time?
Exactly. I mean, we've got people that just love the market.
Yes.
Let's be honest. They like the roller coaster. They like the ups and downs. I'd say
They're aggressive.
If you like the craps table, and you would put your retirement in a craps table if you had a chance.
Well, and sometimes the people have been very successful too. They're sophisticated investors. They have an appetite for risk. They've been good with it throughout their entire history. And you're right. I mean, for others, it really is. It's a risk. You're taking a risk. Like gambling.
Yes.
But for those that are really comfortable, I mean, they shouldn't. I don't think they should consider an annuity.
No, because an annuity is not going to fit that risk profile.
They're not going to have the fun.
They're not going to have nearly the
excitement,
the adrenaline rush of having losses and then offsetting at the gains, because you're of course giving up those losses. And so, if you can't live with the risk of having a loss, that even make sense? But really, it's an annuity would not really fit your mentality.
Exactly. And now, when you start looking at the economy as a whole, I mean, there's, folks who look at the economy in a very positive sense and those who look at it in a not so positive sense. And I would have to say that, from what we experience and hear, we talk to a lot more people that aren't that pro on the economy. Right. But if folks, if you're in the camp where you do believe that we're, over the next couple of decades, that we're really set up for a very robust economy, a very strong stock market, a bull market, then annuities probably wouldn't make sense to you, because you're not going to get the gains from an annuity that you're going to get from a robust stock market. Right.
If you think the next 20 years, we've had a 7-year bull market, but you know what? Mm-hmm. The heck with it. We're going to keep riding this bull all the way through, through 2030. If your feeling is that, that's likely to happen, an annuity is not going to give you that same upside.
No, it's not.
It's not geared for that.
I mean, you have to think of an annuity as something that's going to give you maybe a conservative 4% on the low side, maybe on an indexed annuity. It could be 3%, but let's just say more probability right now with the annuities that are available today that you could get somewhere in the neighborhood of 4% to up to maybe 6%. But that's not going to come close to the 8 to 15% in a really strong stock market.
Right. I mean, if you're comfortable with the potential of having negative numbers, but if you think that those aren't going to happen or they won't be as deep as they've been in the past, then you don't have any problems riding out the market. And so if you're in that camp, let it go. Let it ride.
Well, and the other thing we get from time to time is we get those folks that they're not comfortable with the market, but they're in their 20s, age 20 to age maybe 35 or even 40, and they're thinking that annuities might be right for them. I think not. I mean,
they're in their accumulation stage.
Yes,
they can actually ride out the volatility of the market.
Yes,
and this is where that term dollar cost averaging comes into play. Mm-hmm. Now, yes, I'm a believer of volatility in the market, but you're going to buy and accumulate more shares when you buy low. And hopefully over your time, that's going to benefit you in your retirement. So if you're still young, keep buying in. Just buy in a regular basis.
The proven track record of the market is that if you've got enough years to wait it out, it's going to pay off and pay off well. Right. The question is, how many years do you have?
And that's exactly it. Yeah, and so we've got the very young that don't fit, but then conversely, we've got those that are kind of over the age of 80 that guess what? You don't have any options for an annuity.
They're at the top of the mountain.
That's it. And we're not saying that you don't have the time that necessarily to write it out, but you just don't have the options anymore.
No, that's just it. Unfortunately, and I think this goes back to a over-regulated environment, a lot of you folks that are over 80 years old could benefit greatly from an annuity that's structured properly, but the insurance companies, they're scared to death to offer you an annuity with some of those features in them because of regulatory compliance conditions.
Right.
So your options just aren't that great when you're in that 80 range, and they're not so great in other places either because you don't have that time horizon for the stock market.
Right.
The banks are paying nothing. So, a lot of the policies that have been in place, Eric, they're really hurting our true senior citizens, those that are really senior citizens.
They're driving the people in that area.
Yep.
They're driving you back in the market. That's the only place you can go to generate any kind of return almost anymore.
Right.
It used to be you could get a 5% CD, not anymore. So where you're going for those dollars, you're almost forced back in the market.
Well, number 5, Eric, this is the one we have the most fun with, and we deal with it every week. Every week someone calls in and we start talking about the safety of insurance companies, and they start talking about when the United States currency fails, when our dollar falls apart, when all of the financial institutions, and if you're one of those folks that believe that everything is going to fall apart in the relatively near future, over the next 5, 10, 20 years, then probably an annuity isn't for you because there's really no institution that's going to be safe.
And I'll tell you, nothing is good in anarchy. If you believe that all insurance companies are going to fail, all banks are going to fail, people are always telling me, should I buy gold?
Gold, silver,
and my answer is always,
diamonds.
if that's the case, no, you buy bullets.
That's right.
Because if you buy the gold, the guy that bought the bullets is going to take
and you can sell bullets too.
It could be a currency.
You can use them for other purposes, but you can sell bullets.
So yes, in the case of anarchy, an annuity would be a bad thing.
Exactly.
So, but now, there has to be somebody here on the opposite side when you look at these profiles that if you're not quite in these 5 categories,
right?
Who does it work?
Well, and this is the absolute, and the other 5 is the antithesis.
Right.
It's the opposite.
Right.
And so we put those out there so you can consider. Which camp are you in? Which 5 profiles fit you best? I mean, you're not going to maybe hit all 5 in either category, but which one really fits you best? Which one's going to help you with your retirement objectives? And Eric, I think that this is where folks have to sit down and really face these serious questions. And
it's beliefs. It's about anticipating, taking the information that's out there, and really projecting forward into your retirement. Do you believe, or are you one of these people that just, like me, I guess, that believes that the next 10 years are likely to be kind of like the last 10 years? We're going to have a period of up, and we're going to have a period of down, and it's
really not go too far.
No, it may be sideways. The market may go sideways, but yet this is where somebody that owns an annuity can actually benefit from that volatility, locking in the gains and not having to worry about going back.
Well, it's a gain and retain strategy where when the market rebounds, you actually pick up good interest, and that offsets those years when the market did the negative thing, and you didn't lose anything, you just didn't gain anything. So you end up averaging fairly well. So I think that again, Eric, when folks start to put themselves in this decision-making process of whether an annuity even makes sense for them, I think they have to consider all of these factors.
Sure. They have to look at the risk. They have to weigh the risk there of what the market is likely to do and what it's going to do to their retirement. If you take a negative 20% in the first few years of retirement, how does that impact your ability to achieve what you want to?
Right. So a negative sequence of returns. We have it laid out mathematically. It's very devastating. So, folks, consider these different factors and decide which camp you're in.